Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls was a force unlike anything we had ever seen, and arguably like anything we have seen since. It was an organic team. It wasn't a team that all came together with free agents coming from all around the NBA. It wasn't orchestrated where 2 summers ago they had talked about playing together. This was a team in which Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen both started their careers with. So there was a lot of excitement around the Bulls. To me, a lot of this documentary is going to be associated with Michael Jordan, and rightfully so. But the most fascinating player wasn't Michael, it wasn't Scottie, it was actually this guy. Take a listen. This is, of course, courtesy of CNN with Chris Cuomo.
You got 10 guys here that have left their families, left their damn families to help this country as a sports venture. Got 10 guys, all these guys here. Do anyone understand that?
We do, and we appreciate that, and we wish them well with cultural exchange.
No. I'm just saying, no, I don't give a I don't give a rat's ass what the hell you think. I'm saying to you, look at these guys here. Look at them.
Yeah, but Dennis, don't put it on them. Don't use them as an excuse for the behavior that you're putting on yourself.
They came here.
You just basically were saying that Kenneth Bay did something wrong. We don't even know what the charges are. Don't use these guys as a shield for you, Dennis.
Listen.
Ain't no shield. I got it. Let me do this. Really, I'm gonna tell you one thing. People around the world, I'm gonna do one thing. You're a guy behind the mic right now. We are the guys here doing one thing.
Yeah, that was Dennis Rodman. That's the guy that we think of today. But also there was that playful side of Dennis Rodman also came out in interviews. That was very intense, what you just saw. But there was another playful side of Dennis Rodman. Of course, this is courtesy, I believe it was 1996 on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Take a listen.
Dennis, what are you thinking to yourself when you're lying there in Madonna's bed on Madonna's pillows?
I'm saying I wasn't the only one.
Okay. Let's just move on from there.
So as you can see, Dennis Rodman was a guy that garnered so much attention off the court. And he garners so much attention off the court today. So it's not like that's changed at all. But I want to put attention and focus to what he did on the court. Because that to me is why he's the most fascinating. No one has ever won 7 straight rebound titles. Not Wilt, not Kareem, not Duncan, not Shaq, not Ben Wallace, not Mutombo, except for Dennis Rodman. At 6'7", Dennis Rodman won 7 straight rebounding titles. Pat Riley, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NBA, said rebounds equals rings. There's a reason why Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars never won a title without Dennis Rodman. There's a reason why Michael and Scottie won 3 titles with Dennis Rodman. Rodman, as we know, had a total of 5 NBA titles. If we look at the rebounds themselves, they are numbers that are eye-popping, jaw-dropping, mind-boggling. I feel like Stuart Scott there with all those, cool little quotes. But anyways, I digress. I apologize. So Dennis Rodman, 2 different seasons, he averaged over 18 rebounds a game. 2 different seasons. The only player to do that outside of Dennis Rodman, Wilt Chamberlain, arguably the greatest physical specimen we've ever seen in the NBA. Dennis Rodman, for 5 different seasons, averaged over 15 boards per game, and he did it in his 30s. A guy that size at 6'7", in his 30s, was out hustling everybody else in the NBA. He was that smart, he was that effort-driven, and he had that much heart. Dwight Howard is the best rebounder we have in today's game. His best season did not top Dennis's 7th best season in rebounds. Shaq, outside of Wilt Chamberlain, may be the greatest physical specimen we've ever seen. His best season did not top Rodman's 7th best rebounding season. Shaq is considered to be the best big man to play the game in the last 40 years. And Dennis Rodman was much better at rebounding. A lot of people say Steve Nash and Steph Curry and James Harden are all-time greats. Last time I checked, they only did it on one side of the ball. Because many people will point to those guys and say that they are subpar in one major category of basketball. And it was the same thing with Dennis Rodman. One last thing stands out to me about Dennis Rodman, and that was the 1996 NBA Finals Game 6. They held the Sonics to 75 points for an entire game. The Cavaliers in the 2017 NBA Finals, a series in which they lost 4-1, put up 86 points and a half. That game 6 in the 1996 NBA Finals was a turning point for that 96, 97, and 98 Bulls team. Because who knows what happens if the Sonics don't score 75 points. The Sonics would have been winners of 3 in a row at that time. And then with that momentum, a la 2004 ALCS, they would beat the Bulls, and Michael Jordan is never looked at in the same way. Because that game, Michael Jordan shot 26% from the field, and the Bulls still won by 12. I want you to think about that for a second. The best player on the court shot 26% from the field, and the Bulls still won by 12. I got 2 words for you. Dennis freaking Rodman. That's 3 words, but you get the point. Dennis Rodman had 19 boards in that game. He had 1 less made basket than Michael Jordan, the greatest scorer to ever live, and he had 5 assists. 19 boards and 5 assists. The 2 other guys to do that in the history of the NBA Finals in a closed-out finals game, Shaq and Tim Duncan. Shaq and Tim Duncan, Rodman can put his name with those 2 guys, not in a playoff statistic, not in a regular season statistic, but in an NBA Finals closeout game. Rodman did it at 35 years old. Old enough to run for president. I shouldn't bring that up, but old enough to run for president. The only 2 other players to do that in an NBA Finals game in their 30s, 19 boards and 5 assists, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, 2 of the greatest bigs to ever play this game. Rodman is right in that company. This is a guy that out-hustled, out-thought, and totally out-persevered everybody else in that series. No other defensive player can have the type of impact that Rodman had in that series, and who knows what the course and trajectory of the Chicago Bulls would have been had Rodman not played that kind of a game. But nobody ever talks about that. We always talk about Michael Jordan in Game 6 of the 97 Finals, and Kerr's winning basket, and Paxson's winning basket in 93, and the flu game, and Game 6 of 1998, but nobody brings up Game 6 of the 1996 Finals. But the reality is that was a turning point game in the career of Michael Jordan. Because remember, the year before they got swept, and if they lose up 3-0 to the Sonics, Michael Jordan is never held in the same light and same breath, and he can have Dennis Rodman to thank for that. Dennis Rodman was 5'6". I was talking to my brother about that before, and he thought I made a mistake when I said 5'6", but he was 5'6" in high school. He was cut from the football team in high school. He quit the basketball team in high school. This is a guy that went to a community college. And in that 1986 rookie class, which he was a part of, he is the only player to make the Hall of Fame. And he was drafted in the 2nd round. Dennis Rodman, I don't know any other NBA player to do this, but Dennis Rodman somehow came up with the logo, and he wore that basically for an entire season in his hair. And what's so emblematic of that to me, what's so symbolic of that to me, is that he wore his team on his head, which is analogous to he wore his emotions on his sleeve. He was fascinating because he excelled in an area like no other player we had ever seen, in an area that's ultimate kahunas, ultimate thought, ultimate logic, ultimate game film, and ultimate, not to oversimplify it, heart. And Dennis Rodman did it better than anybody, because there has never been a pound for pound better rebounder in the history of the game, and it translated into that 96 Game 6 win, which to me totally tilted the axis of Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Effort. You can't coach it. It's just there. And Dennis Rodman was there in the biggest of ways. Up next, I'm going to talk about an MVP. And it's not Michael Jordan. And it's not Kobe. It's that other number guy, 23x. Even though Kobe was 24, it's that other guy in the trilogy of Jordan and Kobe. You know who that is. It's obviously LeBron James. I'm going to talk about what I believe is the biggest knock against LeBron next time. But I want your thoughts and your reaction, comments below. Is Dennis Rodman the most fascinating player on the Chicago Bulls? Not best, not most important, the most fascinating. I believe absolutely. But I want your opinion in the comments below. Appreciate you taking the time to watch. Obviously, you can subscribe below. I know it's not coming up, but let's hope for the best. And last but not least, on a somber note, I just want to reiterate that my thoughts and prayers continue to be with the people affected by the coronavirus. Still hoping and praying for the best, but obviously I know it's such a tragic time right now in our country. And my thoughts and prayers go out to those watching, and especially those affected by this just unspeakable virus. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Thank you.